Hey everyone, looks like we are live. I hope everyone is having a great week. Happy Wednesday. We made it. I just want to say thank you for hanging out. It's always great to see everyone here on this Wednesday evening. So we have some great people here. Let's see, we have Roy, Color Graphics. How are you today, sir? All the way from New Jersey. Patty C, all the way from Illinois. Great to see you, Patty. We have Bobby, Raffin Customs, all the way from Cape Cod. Great to see you. Dan Mayer, all the way from Indianapolis, Indiana. How's it going, sir? We have Brad Mummery from Manitoba. Great to see you, my Canadian friend. And we have Mr. Dwayne Marshall, San Luis de Obispo. How are you? So glad you're here, sir. And then we have Astral. How's it going, my UK friend? So glad you're here. Thank you for hanging out, and always a pleasure to talk with you. So we have a great group already, which really makes me happy. So this is part 5, I think, of the train nap painting, or painting the figure in the urban landscape, part 5. Not sure exactly what the title is, but I'm excited, and we're gonna have, we're just gonna have fun today. Go over technique together, talk about art, talk about your art, not just mine. Uh, if we're gonna work on the figure at all, we're going to continue working with Tim Gore's Lifeline colors from the Bloodline. Really fantastic. I love all the Createx, but really nice. The airbrushes we're going to be using are the Badger Extreme Patriot Arrow. Of course, I customize these and I sell them. There's a link in the description field. If you want something that's going to give you tight, beautiful details, going to be reliable, everything's going to be centered, this is definitely the airbrush for you. And also we have the Patriot 105, the Extreme Patriot 105. All the same features that I put in here, but it has a larger cup, so if you're working on larger pieces, it really is fantastic. So I've been working today. My airbrushes have different colors in them, so hopefully everything will be smooth. We're praying. And let's see what we have here. Oh, Dan says he's excited. His water heater went out this morning, so I got to buy a new one tomorrow. Having no hot water. Oh, man. Was anything damaged when it kind of started leaking, sir? I hope that didn't happen. Wow. So, Dan, so sorry that that happened. And I know they're like $800-900 or something like that. I know before everything went up, they must be twice as much now. Mr. Mike Rushing, how's it going? Great to see you, my friend. Always a pleasure. How's life treating you? So, and Mike, you are from Georgia, am I correct? I know I keep messing it up. I know your work. It's so amazing. I have to write it down. Thank you so much for the super chat. I guys want to let you know that Mike is doing these incredible airbrush and India ink paintings. He is really, that's what makes me happy, that I create these airbrush India inks, and I see great artists like Mike just go ahead and just do incredible stuff with it. It's just so amazing. So yeah, so he's doing great with them, doing portraits and I got it right, Georgia. All right, Decatur. Yes. So I'm getting better, Mike. Right, getting better. But yeah, your work's unforgettable. That's for sure. Yes, definitely. I know there's a link on Instagram, Mike, where people can see your work. I would love people to see it, and I think you take commissions, right? So if anyone sees Mike's work and they love it, definitely you can commission him. And so definitely inquire about that. Just an amazing, amazing artist and great person. And thank you so much for your support, sir. I really, really appreciate that. And yeah, and so here we are. So I'm going to be drinking some Belle V, which I guess means good life, sparkling water grapefruit. So that's pretty good. And I'll be drinking that. I've been drinking too much lemonade, you know. Mr. Mike, the uh, all the way from Maryland. How's it going? Great to see you. How's everything, sir? Mike is doing some really great work with his car paintings. They're just really, and it goes to show you, studying and all that's really great, but just getting out there and just doing the work and just, painting, that's the best teacher. Same thing with Mike. Mike's just painting, 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 and that is always going to be the best teacher. So Mike, Michael McGlung, you are real. So the two Mikes. Michael McGlung, you're doing great stuff with your paintings, and so is Mike Rushing. So that's cool. So we're gonna pick up where we left off last week. I didn't have time to do too much. Actually, I didn't do anything to the painting in between, which is to your benefit because then you see the whole painting from beginning to end without any in between that you might have missed, right? One day a week. You know what? One day a week. Do that by 52, and that's substantial. So you might say, oh, it's just one day a week, but it's substantial. And JC, how's it going? Great to see you. Homemade lemonade or lime water. It's great, Tim. Oh, yeah, it definitely is. Mr. JC from the Atlanta area. Great to see you. Oh, I want to show you guys this. How many of you out there know about ChatGPT? Have you used ChatGPT? Love to hear what your thoughts are on it. So what I have been doing is having ChatGPT do my schedule for the day. So what you do with ChatGPT 4.0 is you tell them what what you have planned on your schedule. Do you have, paintings you want to be done? Do you have a meeting? Do you have, a live stream like tonight? All those different things. What time you wake up? What time you have dinner? And this will actually do a concise, beautiful schedule for the day. And you can move it around. Like in the morning, it was too short of a period of time for me to work on my first painting. And so what I did was I went ahead and told ChatGPT to give me more time in the morning to work on, the painting. And it's like having a personal assistant in your studio. And it's really fantastic. It could set a reminder for you to call somebody and everything. So when you're if you're like me, your day gets away from you, this could really be something that I think would really benefit you. And oh, so JC has no clue on what it is. Awesome to know. Yeah, ChatGPT is artificial intelligence, and it's made by OpenAI, and you can do a lot of different things with it. So one of the things I'm doing is creating a schedule for me to get things done. And I'll tell you, it's increased my productivity by threefold. And I'm going to stay with it. And it's not just this. There's also an audiobook. So any of you who do audiobooks out there, I have a really good audiobook for you all to get if you do audiobooks. It's called Not the Art of War, which is the one by Shang Tzu, which is, an ancient battle planning philosophy. But this is the War of Art. And so if you go to audible.com, you look up War of Art, it's less than 3 hours long, and I highly, highly recommend it. If you want to take your work to that next level, if you are no longer happy with your productivity as it is, the Art of War will really, really just slap you in the face and just say, you know what, you can't, that's resistance and you got to work on that. And Michael says, someone wake this girl up. She's missed my house 3 weeks in a row. Yeah, that's right. Hey, Mr. Leahy, how's it going, my friend? Great to see you. That razor blade painting that you did is just unbelievable. So really kudos to that. Just amazing, amazing work. So excited to see it. And the way you framed it is just out of this world. I was watching it while I was working, so it was really fantastic. If you haven't had a chance, on Steve's live stream, he has open studio, and you can actually watch that as he works on that, which is really just incredible. Okay, so we're going to continue working on the background, I feel, and I think that's really cool. So let's see. So what I'm looking for is the silhouette, right? And I know she's here. There she is, a young lady. Now this is an important piece here. I don't know what this is. Is this from her? I'm not sure. It could be from another painting. Whoa. Yes, so here's some little pieces that I like to keep in the envelope, which is really fantastic. Okay, so we'll just put that here. Move this over. And so yes, so if you want to increase your productivity, I have two very important tips for you. Get ChatGPT 4.0 and ask it to make a schedule for you. And it's not just going to make an arbitrary schedule. You input everything that goes on to your day, whether it's a meeting or work or after work or spend time with your girl or what have you. That's what you need, you know, so that's going to help you. And plus the War of Art, two really good golden tips for you guys that you won't get anywhere else, and I guarantee you're going to thank me if you do those two things. So it's available in audiobook, plus those who love reading like I do, it's available in print, so you can get it at Amazon.com or your local public library, which I really recommend the local public library more than anything, because you're supporting the library and reading, you ingest it and digest it much better. But audio, if you're busy, that'll work too. Okay, so got rid of me. I'm going to go get my glasses. So those of you who are enthusiasts of Yupo paper, I did an experiment and I heat pressed it, and that stuff did really weird things. So Yupo paper really did not impress me thus far. It was, you know, it just shows me just how plastic it is. I'm not giving up on Yupo paper, but so, you know, when you heat press, let's say different things like, let's say you heat press cardstock, or you heat press canvas or wood, you can definitely transfer a drawing onto there. But what happened, and I just did it for 350 degrees for 30 seconds, and it really did some really weird things. It really is out of this world. It just kind of became leathery and melted. And now, I'm not saying that I'm against Yupo paper. I mean, look at Steve Leahy. He does the most amazing stuff on Yupo. Um, but I was like really surprised about it. But then again, you know, I'm experimenting. I'm doing weird things with it. But what Steve does with Yupo paper is actually out of this world. So what do I know? Not much when it comes to Yupo paper. So what I want to do is I want to work on the floor, right? So that's going to be interesting. Uh, so let's see what I miss. That's what his nose was doing. Astral, Astral, are you still up? Uh, let's see what else. Mr. JC said, "Awesome, Tim. I got my wife for that. I'm pretty sure she won't like the AI stuff." Oh my goodness. Yes, if you much better to have a loved one to look after you than AI, definitely. And that I admire. I would much rather have what you have, sir, than AI in a million years. So, well, so we're working on the floor, right? So we're going to just concentrate on getting this correct. And let's see. So, real success last week with working on the flesh with the Lifeline series. Now, it's not the bloodline. The bloodline is the whole line, but the individual Lifeline, which is basically just for portraits and doing nudes and stuff like that, is really fantastic. I'm actually using them as paintings and also underpaintings for oils. So really incredible line. If you don't have the Lifeline already, I just say, what are you waiting for? Because that's going to change the way you do portraits. Trust me, it really is. Mr. Ryan, how's it going? Great to see you, my friend. And so, like, once again, I actually heat pressed. And it's so funny because online they're like, yeah, you can heat press. You can heat press Yupo paper, but that was not the case. And so we're going to do some airbrushing today, which is going to be fun. I love her boots, so I'm going to have fun painting them. And so we want to make sure that we have magnets on the edge. Now, why do you have magnets on the edge? Because the magnets on the edge are what's going to keep it from getting underspray, and we don't want underspray, right? So that's something that we are definitely checking out. So once again, I'm not getting any kind of kickbacks, but the War of Art and ChatGPT 4.0, those are two things that will increase your productivity. So that's exciting. Okay, so I'm going to look at the floor and we're going to see exactly what's the right way about this. So I am going to close this. And I love using Krita when I have, you know, for reference. I love using Krita. Those who know me know how much I love Krita. And I wouldn't say, would I say I am a Krita master? Perhaps. I just love it. Okay, so we're going to start, you always start with the light, right? So, you know, the floor has a light and a dark. So you always want to start with the light. Why do you start with the light? Because if you start with the dark and then come with the light, you're going to have some wild blue shift. And I know you all don't want that, right? So let me see if I can bring up that picture. Do I have her? Let me see. I'm going to see if I can bring up the image. Image. Here we go. Okay, so this is what I'm working on. So you see the floor, right? And we'll just put this over here. So now I'm going to work on the dark, right? So I don't just want to arbitrarily hit that dark. So what I want to do, actually first work on the light. That's what we were talking about. So I am going to figure out what color is that light. It's actually kind of like a fleshy color, right? I know that sounds a little out there, but it actually is a fleshy color. I do have a little bit mixed. I'm going to need more because I drew out what I had, not knowing that I was going to need the exact same color. That's irony for you. And let's go ahead and start this up here. And we'll just put this here. Let's see. Okay, so along this edge here, so I'm going to use something like for a straight edge here. Let's see, I want to maintain these edges. Ah, Mr. Ryan, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. Much appreciated. Thank you, sir. I just think that's great, and it's such an honor to have your support and your friendship. So thank you so much for that. Now, I'm not going to worry about, because I have some shadows, right? So I'm not going to worry about getting in, I'm just going to paint the whole thing this color and then go over it with the darker colors, because there's no need to do the light color and the darker color. The dark color will supersede and cover the lighter color quite easily, right? And so where's Colette? Someone said Colette. I don't see Colette. I see thanks, Colette. Where are you, Colette? Oh, there you are, Colette. Great to see you. I'm so glad you're here. All the way from Georgia. Yes, Colette is in Georgia, which is exciting. And so, Ryan, I just want to say thank you again for the support. I really appreciate it. You are amazing. And, I'm so excited every time you're here, so happy. So thank you so much for hanging out and your support. And look at that, it's a cup of coffee. So I will have that coffee tomorrow, my friend. Definitely. So, oh, the phone is almost dead. Oh man, I know what that's like. I actually never charge my phone, Ryan. That's my problem. So you see how we're just starting to get the Ryan, have a great night. Always a pleasure. And just want to say thank you again for your support. Thank you for being part of this community. And it's just so fantastic. Such an honor. Thank you, sir. Now, what I'm going to do is her boot doesn't quite cover because things will shift as you paint, you correct, and everything. You want it, a lot of times, you're going to want it a little bit better than your initial drawing, whether it be a line drawing or what have you. So I'm just going to cover up her boot because I don't want to lose the contour that I have. Because even though you may, go ahead and do a line drawing and then come back, you're going to want to change the contour. Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres, 19th century French academic painter, he said that drawing is 85% of a painting. He also said drawing is the probity of art. So drawing is the truth of art. So, and a good painting he said a good painting is 85% drawing, and that drawing is the truth of art. So you definitely want to maintain your drawing. Color is important, but drawing is everything. I mean, that's what we all start with, right? So one of the things I'm doing is starting to get up much early. Oh, I have, 10 minutes. Let me see how far I can get, Ryan. Hopefully I can get pretty far. We're just going to be working on the floor, my friends. So Dwayne, how's life going? How's work? You doing any murals at the moment? I know you were busy with murals a couple of weeks ago. Is that still happening? And if so, what's the subject matter? I'm always interested to hear that. And let's see. Okay, so I definitely want to make sure that. So I'm going to remember, ounce of prevention goes a long way. So I'm not happy with the placement here on her feet. So I'm going to move it, not worry about up here because I'm working down here. So you can do that. You can actually adjust, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I don't want to fix something, if I don't have to, right? If I went ahead and as is and sprayed, then I would have to fix. And why do that if you don't have to? So that's the case. Mike says the canvas is never blank, it's just what we see on it. That is so true. That is so very true. Been doing a lot of studies on the psychology of artists, albeit writers or painters. I mean, we're a wild bunch, and that is definitely the case. And what we do is we're almost like visionaries. We are, because we have a vision in our head, and then we bring it to life. So even if you see a reference, a lot of people like doing celebrities or something like that, using the reference as your guide, but the vision that you have is in your head as a painting. And why we're visionaries is because we're bringing that something that didn't exist, and all of a sudden it's existing. And I think that's really amazing. That's the amazing part of us, that we have that ability. Dwayne says it's going good out here. No murals so far this summer. Working on tanks and fender set. Nice. Very good. Very, very good. I'm really loving this color that I use in the light of the flesh in an earlier painting today. Working on a portrait. Now over here it gets really dark, so it's going to stay light over here. And so I'm just going to worry about, like I said, I don't want to fix anything, so I'm going to manipulate this. I still want the beautiful edges, mind you. Not ready to give up. So one of the great things, now I know you probably all know it, but I pretty much am advanced in many mediums. I've exhibited in galleries with pastel, with oils. Oil paintings I actually had exhibited at the Lincoln Center in New York City. 2 oil paintings I had at the Cork Gallery there. Pastels I had at a gallery, a one-man show in New York City with them. Won countless awards in pastels. I exhibited at a museum with watercolors. So, I definitely know that there are advantages to different mediums. And I'll tell you one of the great advantages of the airbrush, and why every artist should know the airbrush, whether you are, mainly doing work in oils or pastel. First, I'm a big proponent on using the airbrush as an underpainting, right? Nothing will do better. But there's nothing out there that's going to give you the edge quality, whether it's soft or hard, than the airbrush. I don't care if you've been, you know, working in, oil paint your whole life. You will never get an edge that you can with the airbrush. So the airbrush is really, it just has some really beautiful qualities that you really can't ignore. And if someone does ignore, then they're just being foolish. And so that's definitely my feeling on that. So let's move this over here. And I'm just lighting it slow. Oh, too much coffee. Oh, that's cool. So as you see, I'm just kind of working that floor slowly. And also, I'm going to be looking to see where I see that floor color somewhere else. And right here, we can probably kind of start this. See, when you're working on an interior here, you kind of want to just move around, and you don't want to stay in one area because there's a lot of repetitive stuff. So I like to move around. Now I want to move it to the back of her boot there because I'm going to be coming down. So like I said, I'm just trying to minimize any kind of edge quality that I have to fix. So don't be afraid to move your stencil, right? You can move it down if you want to do the bottom of the foot, and don't worry about the top because you're not spraying near that. Doesn't that make sense, guys? So I'm sure that's helpful. Okay. And then right here, I'm just going to hit this. And again, so we're just going to just work on this edge here. So I have, basically I'm doing a 1-to-1 mixture, 40-11, and a mixture of orange and probably white. And the orange I'm using is the illustration orange, which is really cool. Michael says this weekend he's hoping to finish all 4 of his paintings and then he'll get help. Wow, that's so cool. And that's fantastic. I love hearing that. And take your time. Rome wasn't built in a day. I work in oils and pastel, and you will be like flabbergasted how long it takes to successfully successfully paint large areas like this, like backgrounds and stuff. So I'm not phased. I just I have that patience because I've been working in other mediums, but you guys have to have that. Guys and girls have to always employ that patience. Even if you're moving 1% towards the finish of your work, it's so important to just continue going towards that 1%, right? If I just did 1% today towards the work, then I'm going in the right direction. So don't worry about that, you know? Don't worry about it. Okay, so little by little, you see it's going pretty well. Now I'm going to lift up our young lady's stencil here. I'm just going to see where we are, because you can't just keep it down there and hope for the best. You have to really assess what's happening. So that's a Timism. Don't just hope for the best, assess. Okay, so here we go. So nice. So you see it's much better than it was. It was just a paper color, right? So we're going in the right direction. So cool. Okay. Now we're right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do the cast shadows on her boots just yet, but perhaps I could go ahead and kind of work out some of the shadows here. Maybe I could work out the pole. We'll see. We're just going to kind of wing it, but I am happy that she's starting to finally have a nice environment, and that's going to come in time, right? It's not going to come right away, but that's all right. We're patient. So now I'm going to look at our shadow, and we'll start with the lightest part of the shadow, maybe right here. And now I am going to find that shadow. Of course, when you're doing backgrounds, you're not going to be using the lifeline, right? That's for flesh. That's for face and stuff like that. That's a whole different ball game, a whole nother ball of wax. When you're working on, let's say, backgrounds, whether outside or interiors, you're going to have to mix your colors, right? There's not going to be, you know, a bottle of, you know, subway car ceiling, you know, there's nothing going to be that way. So you're going to have to mix it. And that's where, you know, I'm excited about my color theory, because it will, you know, when it comes out, it's really going to be helpful for everyone. So I'm excited about it. And so I'm trying to make it, you know, short. I'm trying to condense it into short where you can repeat it over and over again. Let's see. So now I am, let's make this happen, guys and girls. All right, so you know, today I was just, you know, walking, and I just saw all these different flowers and different colors. And it just makes you so excited to be a painter. It really does. I want you all to attack color. Don't be afraid of it. But make sure that you attack color, but make sure you control it, right? Make sure you don't let it become too saturated. Color in nature is rarely what it looks like out of the tube. I think I need some seltzer. So we're going to work on the shadow here. And all right, so I found the color. Now I have to find out how to mix that color, right? Okay. And I have this way of doing it where I can actually test it out and, you know, make sure it's exactly the color that we're looking for. It's pretty wild. So let's see. Okay, very good. So now I know what I have to do to adjust this. Okay, so now we're just going to make it happen. So I had to order another 500 of these cups because I went through 500 cups in 4 months. I think that's a record, you know, that's a lot. So I go through a lot of cups, and that's just me. I don't have any, you know, at location students. That's just me using 500 of these cups. It's just unbelievable. How's the pollen? Well, where I used to live, the pollen is really bad. My eyes used to blow up. I would get this eyelid thing. It was quite scary. And but where I moved to, it's a lot less. And it's so great that's the case. Okay, so now that I have the color, I'm gonna mix it. And all right, let's see. And where is this? Yeah, this is probably where we're gonna go. I may break out the red grass wet palette, but I'm not sure. But we're going to be working on large areas right now, and that's cool. Um, let's see. So, believe it or not, orange is the main color of that shadow right there. You would not think, right? I'm going to do a 2-to-1. 3-to-1 I like, but I think there's a little bit of an adherence issue, and so I'm probably not going to stop using them for tequila shots. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's funny. So they are, I could do like wheatgrass shots or something like that, right? But yeah, 500 of them. I went through 500. What's wrong with me? 500? That's crazy. I'm out of control, guys. So, and anyone who knows me, I hate getting messy. I know a painter hates getting paint on his hands. I'm going to add a little bit more of this here. Because it's a warm shadow, right? It really is. He goes through, Mr. Dwayne goes through so many little souffle cups. He buys them by bulk. Yeah, that's what I have to do, 500 at a time. I can't do 250. 250 will last me like, what, a month or so? 2 months? I really gotta jump on the, maybe get 1,000 bulk. And then I got more, so I'll be doing a fresh set of the Airbrush India ink soon. So they've been unavailable for a while, so that is great. So in this airbrush here, I was working on this bluish purple color. Believe it or not, it was on the hair. Now, her hair was not bluish purple, but the way the light was reflecting off of that was bluish purple, so that was really cool. So that's why I say, really embrace color, really see what's there, and it just becomes like a nice high, I mean, it really is. So what I do is I get one of those like little Chinese restaurant to-go things, and I fill it with water with a pipette, so whatever I need water, it's right here, and I have a plenty of it. I find when I do those little bottles, they run out, and then in the middle of the painting I have to go ahead and that's not good. I have to go refill it and everything, so that's not effective. So definitely this is a good tip, doing it that way. If you're like me and you work for like 6-7 hours at a time, it's really great. And oh, so Steve Leahy says it usually doesn't affect him, but this year is bad. Oh, with the allergies, yes. And Mr. Mayer is laughing with Ryan. Dwayne says he goes through so many of those. I read that. I get the 3/4 ounce ones. Oh, that's cool. Yes, a little smaller. And Michael says, Tim, I just got my third Oh, box of 250 from Amazon, right? Yeah, I went with the 500. 250 just didn't do it for me. They do have a 500 available next time. I think that would be much better for you. I also ordered about 200 of these. So I'll be making a new batch of the Airbrush India inks. And that has the detail, the light, the medium, and the dark. So that is fantastic. A lot of people are doing those black and white quick portraits. And I'll tell you, the Airbrush India ink just flows like a hot knife through butter. It really is quite fantastic. So here's the color I have. And so it's a 1-to-1, and I did do 4011 here. And I too like to live dangerously, as Mr. Austin Powers says. And what I'm going to do is we're going to put our protective shield over our young lady here. And we're going to work on the dark, but we're going to concentrate here first and then we'll come down. I think that's best. So last week it was all paintbrush techniques, and you're like, what is this, airbrush or a paintbrush live stream? So today you're getting mostly airbrush. But you got to do both. Okay, so there she is. Don't want any background going into her beautiful leg there. That would be bad. So what I'm going to do is I have a little stencil there. No, I think that's okay. I think we'll be okay. Let's not go too crazy. And remember, we're not doing it by her, we don't have to worry about here because it's not part of the floor. So, and I'm just going to worry about this area, this quadrant, right? So Dwayne says there is a restaurant supply store here, and I get them for, wow, that's really great. I find that here in the Northeast, the restaurant supply stores they won't deal with the general public. You have a friend who is a restaurateur. There's a little bit of that purple in there, and it kind of is nice. So far so good, my friends. Michael says 2 weekends in a row he was doing nothing but paintbrush work. That's why I think this weekend I should be done with oh, that's great. Loving the paintbrush work. Love, love, love it. Okay, so we're working on here, so let's, it's a lot of prep work, right? It really is. Success as far as the color of this shadow. I am happy. There we go. And Steven says he hates to say it, but he's going to need to bug out. Take care, my friend. Have a great rest of the week. Don't work too hard. And check out Steve Leahy's live stream tomorrow at 1 p.m. It's fantastic. So that is 1 p.m. on YouTube. Check it out. A lot of great information there. You'll learn so much. So definitely don't miss it. And so you see how we're starting to get that shadow there. So that's amazing. So definitely have a great night, my friend, and look forward to your live stream tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And, know, whatever he's going to be working on, you're going to learn so much. So definitely highly recommend him. There we go. So we have this here, and so you can use anything for a freehand shield here. Just a piece of cardstock there. Now we're going to come down here. So we were working on this area and this contour. So now we're done. Whoop, there's some right here. There we go. Okay. Now what we're going to do, and we're not like, okay, I'm done with the floor in that quadrant. No, it's just that's the beginning, and we'll keep it going, you know. That's what we have to do. We have to keep it going. So we're just building, you know. Of course I would like to do one pass, but it's not really realistic for me in my technique to do one pass. So now we're worrying about this contour, right? Remember? We're worrying about this contour here. I'm really worrying about her leg because it's lighter. It's the lightest area. So if I get some on the boot is definitely darker. So I can live with that, right? But I can't live it going on her leg because then I have to do some serious fixing, right? So that is really great. Okay, like I said, I'm not worrying about the boot, but I'm worrying about this contour here. So this is not an easy painting. This is very difficult. You're dealing with perspective. You're dealing with, you know, anatomy, full figure, everything like that. Full figure, and her head, if we get the size of her head here from... Her head is basically 1 inch, so it's pretty small. Guys, I'm going to use the little boys' room. I will be right back. Talks amongst yourselves. When we come back, we're going to continue with the floor, and then maybe we'll go ahead and work on the ceiling. I think that's going to be good. And then she's going to start to be an environment. So hang out, guys. I'll be back. Okay, guys, thanks so much for hanging. Oh, wow, look at that. Mr. Michael McClung with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. That is so great. Thank you. I really appreciate the support and the friendship, my friend. Thank you so much. Loving the work that you're doing. Really amazing. So thank you again. And thank you for being a part of our community, sir. So, so now I'm going to continue with the shadow here, and then I want to maybe see if we have the same color, if we could work on the ceiling. That would be great, you know. So once again, thank you so much, my friend. I super appreciate you, and so thank you. Now, so in here I have the Extreme Patriot 105. You'll see I use that a lot of time for uh, you know, larger areas like backgrounds. I'll use that, which is cool. And so now we have this. Let's get, and it's good that I show you guys, be extra careful with, you know, covering your figure when you're doing backgrounds, because you just don't want to make extra work for yourself. Astral says, Tim, you should visit the port. Yes, that's right. I'll be right back. Going to the bathroom, guys. I say my live stream gets much better when I go into the lavatory. So I'm just going to bring this down here. Now the cast shadow on her I'm going to work on later. It's interesting because this shadow is wispy and warm, and then we're going to come in with the darker, cooler underneath and create some depth. There we go, right here, and then right here we have the shadow coming a little bit lighter, and so that is good. Right here, remember this contour I'm so worried about, you know, I don't want to mess up the hard work I did on her nylons there, or her tights. Again, you can use anything for your freehand shield. There we go. Even though we haven't really done that pole in the background is starting to come out a little bit. And then here we have a nice dark. Now this is going to be black when it comes over here, but it's going to start out with this kind of wispy, shadowy color coming along here. Just creating this beautiful environment. I wouldn't say the subway is a beautiful environment, but she's in it, so it's beautiful. There we go. And over here we have this shadow coming right here. Okay, so I have this color, and I'll ask myself, can I get away with using this color, let's say on the ceiling? Very well could, but we have to make sure that we have not only the darks, but just like in the floor, we have to make sure we establish the lights. And Michael says, Tim, the pleasure is all his. He learned so much from watching me and the other two guys like Scott and Steve and Bill. Thank you, my friend. The other three guys, yes. I really appreciate it. You know, you guys are just been a great support, and it just keeps me going. I love the airbrush. It's, you know, never going to give it up. It's just a great medium, but one of the great givebacks I feel of working in airbrush is the airbrush community. It's a great group of men and women, and I'm just, you know, blessed to be a part of it. So thank you everybody for that. So now we have this, and so this ceiling is basically this color. So I think what we can do is we'll use our freehand shield here, and maybe we can lighten it up a little bit. Like in this quadrant right here, it's a little bit lighter, so I'm going to come in with this light color, because remember everybody, you can't glaze over a darker color, so you have to lighten it up and then glaze over that. It's a very important aspect, so that's important. And Michael says, I just wish we could get a lady or two to do airbrush work on YouTube also. Yeah, you know, it's true, you know. It's a definitely lopsided men to women ratio in airbrush. And it's sad because, you know, there's no difference in, there are a lot of great airbrush artists out there, but, you know, it's difficult. So I'm going to, so we have this gray of this, the door in the background. So I'm going to glaze it first. I'm going to set it up with the white. So when you work with a gray paper like I do, there's pros and there's cons. The pro is that your colors become muted. So I like that. I think I tend to be oversaturated. So if it's muted, I could actually arrive at the correct saturation as opposed to me going way too saturated, you know, and not seeing that. So this really helps me. So just on a personal level, I like that. But that's a, you know, that's a disadvantage too, because when you have the gray, you can't necessarily glaze a darker color, so you have to lighten the color first, especially in the face. Let's say you do a black and white underpainting on the lips. Now, if you have the correct value and you go to do an underpainting, even if that's a very light rose color, it's going to darken it to the point where your value is going to be one value too dark. So what you have to do is you have to set up your lip color by going lighter than the actual lip color. Then when you glaze with the red, it's going to arrive at the right value. So how do you combat this? You do an underpainting and you do the detail, but when you do the underpainting, you have to be a value or two lighter than you want to be. And if you're not, you're going to have to come in with an orange and white mixture, and you're going to have to set it up, which means make it lighter and then glaze on top of that, if that makes sense, I hope. Here we're going to have to do some paintbrush techniques, but what I'm doing is just setting up the ambient light, right? So that's what I'm doing, just setting up this ambient light. And it takes a while, you know, it's not something that happens right away. You just have to be patient, super patient with this, and be patient with yourself. So right here we have, it's a little bit more brown, and then it gets darker over here. Right here we have some lighter value here. So we have to set it up, right? And that's not easy. And I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm doing, because kind of wondering like, what are you doing, Tim, right? So let's see. So here we are. And let's see if I can lighten this up. It's hard to see. With the shellac, it gives it a nice shiny surface to work on. So you might be seeing glare. But I'm just setting this up. And maybe right here. You can't, so I can't glaze on a dark surface, so I have to lighten it up. So when I come in with a darker color, it shows and I get the right value. And that's an old oil painting technique. It's all preparation like chess, right? That's basically it. Right here we have a lot of paintbrush techniques, so you got to know when you're licked in a sense. You're not going to spite yourself by trying to do airbrush techniques when paintbrush techniques is much better. So you see I'm just lightening up that area there. I can always darken it. And let me open up Pure Ref. Has anyone used Pure Ref? And let me know what you think of it. I'm a big proponent of Pure Ref. Let me know what you think. Let's see. I'm pulling her up in Pure Ref. Paintbrush techniques over here, so I'm not going to try and do it with airbrush. And maybe just lighten this up here. And this is the stuff, right? When you're doing stuff like this, looks like nothing's happening, but trust me, it is happening. We just have to be patient, that's all. So we're going to come back in with the brown right here on the roof. Is it the roof? Yeah, I think so, on the train. It's not the ceiling. So let's go ahead and just start spraying this a little bit darker. So now it's not just this like, weird, now she's in an enclosure. So little by little it happens. We get it. But then, I am coming in with paintbrush techniques over here. But definitely want to go ahead and get the ambient light, the atmosphere and everything. Then we can go in with detail. Now there's two ways to go. We can be like super tight and just do one little area at a time and just exhaust it. And that's fine. That works too. But it all depends on, how you're working, what's your, what are your goals, right? With me, I don't want it to be super tight in the background. She's the most important thing. I want you to see her. I don't want you to see the other stuff. Okay. And Michael says, Tim, the 105, does it have the same needle and nozzle? Exactly. So still has the .3 needle and nozzle combination. It has the cone, which is not those little tiny little minuscule things that get clogged. So it's everything's the same except for the bigger cup. Now it is great because you can work larger with this, but the detail is so similar. Everything's similar, and the way that I customize it, it has all the same functionality. And the great thing about me working with the 105 is that I tune it up so it's spraying exactly like this. So you're not getting anything. So like when I switch to the 105, it's not like I'm going to have any kind of surprises or anything. I'm going to know what it does because, a lot of times when we have a bigger cup and a smaller cup, we kind of have to adjust, but we don't with this, and that's why I'm the type of artist that likes to know exactly what I'm going to get when I pick it up. And that's why I'm a creature of habit, That's why I love the Wicked line for certain things, and I love the illustration line for certain things. I know what they're going to do. It's not going to be a surprise. And that's the same thing with the airbrush. That's why I work on paper, and and I really go with this paper because I know what it's going to do. You don't see me switching different papers too often because, working with wood is a whole different ball game than canvas, and canvas is different from the paper. But like with this painting, what I did was I did a really nice line drawing, transferred onto my drawing, did an airbrush India ink underpainting, shellacked it, went over it in the beginning with some white to bring back the lights, and then going in with Createx. So I know exactly what it's going to do. I know exactly. So long-winded, sorry about that explanation. But yeah, highly recommend this. This thing is, you can see I use it all the time. And you don't see me using other airbrushes. And it's just, you know, when you work in 6 to 8 hours at a time, you want to know exactly what it's going to do. Okay, so let's see. And you know what? I sold many of the 105s, and everyone is just so excited about it. Not one ever came back. And as far as my Extreme Patriot Arrow, I think I sold like 80 of them, and one was returned, but it was user error. So I fixed the overabundance of plumber's tape, and resold it, and the person was just totally in love with it. So yeah, they're really great. If predictability and tight detail is that's what you want, it's definitely the way to go, guys. It definitely is. And I am going to start selling them again. So I will, I am taking orders for the 105 if anyone is interested. Just give me about 3 weeks to get it to you. However, I do have 2 of the Extreme Patriot 105s, the Extreme Patriot Arrow, not the 105s. I have 2 available, so they would ship out within a couple of days if anyone was so inclined to get one of them. And yeah, the same exact feeling. Dwayne says plumber's tape. Yeah, so I stay away from plumber's tape because the right amount of plumber's tape and too much plumber's tape is just such a fine line. And so you never want to go over that, because then it will create all kinds of vacuum issues. And a lot of airbrush artists who use too much and don't know too much about they think that their airbrush is broken, but it really isn't. So what I use, and which I love, is just chapstick that I get at the dollar store. It's really great. You get 3 of them for $1. Well, now the dollar store is $1.25, right? It just slowly went up 25%. So this is the chapstick I use, and you just get it at Hobby Lobby. Make sure you don't get the flavored one. You don't want your airbrush smelling like cherries, At least I don't. Natural beeswax is the way. Yes, very similar. Definitely, Dwayne. Beeswax is really great. So anything that's going to be non-obtrusive and not get in the way, and just seal up those threads. That's all you need to do, is just close those threads that might let some air in. That's it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start working on some of the darks in here. So that would be a lot of fun. So let's see. I definitely want to work on this dark here as this comes down, right here, this dark here, this dark, and just give some atmosphere little by little. That's what we want to do. Yeah, it doesn't block passages. So true. So Mr. Bobby uses Medea. That's great. That stuff is good, definitely. And let's see. So I got to get my trusty brush. And we're going to go with a dark. I don't want to use black. So you want to use black very sparingly, right? That needs to be like, just like white. White you need to use sparingly. Black you need to use sparingly. because if you use too much black, then you have nowhere to go for your dark accents. So I do have a little palette. Let me go get it. A little plastic palette. Those things are great. These used to cost like 50 cents. With inflation, they're probably $7 now, but they're great. So I use them. So you don't want to mix on your wet palette, so you just mix a little bit off to the side here. Then you can play with it. Okay. All right, so we have my brush here. This is definitely eyeglass area. So Nicky Wax Mr. Astral uses for waterproofing working boots. That's pretty cool. And Dwayne says a while ago he got natural beeswax from Coast Airbrush. It's a couple of dollars and it's still in a chapstick style. Oh, that's nice. That's definitely good. So what I do is I use this and then I transfer it to my wet palette. Because if I bring this, it could just kind of spread out. So that helps. I don't know if this is going to be dark enough. And I also like using dry brush techniques, which is great. And so here goes nothing. We can always go darker. Bring this down. And I like it. I can always, like I said, I can always go darker, and I will. I'm just establishing this. I always say you have to paint a picture 3 times, you know? You have to do like 3 layers to get exactly what you want. Airbrush paintings are no different. Definitely works that way with pastel. Just very slowly. Now right here with her leg, we want to be careful. So we have it on this side, and then there's the dark on this side. What I'm going to do is, these magnets are in the way, so I'm just going to... Magnets are great, but you know, I find you don't want to keep them on your metal board there, because then they start getting in the way, impeding your workflow, and that's not good. So I'm just going to move this aside. Okay, so we have this over here, and now we have much better workflow here. Okay, now let's move this over here. We artists, right? We're so temperamental, right? We like things the way we like them. Got a little bit of white here. And we'll do the dry brush on this side, right? So let's make sure we get this edge correct. And pull this over. And then here we have this light, and then there's the pole. So we're going to pull this dark all the way down. Let's see if I missed anything. Oh, Michael says he's going to start watching on the big tube so I could change his phone and no more communication. Oh, okay. So I know you're out there, my friend. And if you have any questions, you can IM me. So that's cool. Like I said, you want to go light, right? You don't want to go in like gangbusters, right? Don't be a cowboy, I always say. Start out light and then work from there. So right here, this comes up here. Wow, Mr. Brad, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I really appreciate you. Thank you, sir. All the way from Manitoba, Canada. It's great working with you. So I don't know if everyone knows, but Brad has been a student of mine for 4.5 years, and it's been great. And Brad is actually having a one artist show in June. And nothing makes me happier than to see my students spread their wings and and take the art somewhere else, right? And I think every teacher wants that. They want their students to be doing great things, and Brad is definitely doing that. And thank you so much, sir, for the super chat and the friendship, and definitely the friendship and the support. Thank you, sir. I'm just going to bring this down. And just take it slow. There we go. And just like when you're doing portraits, don't worry about everything looking perfect right now or the colors being exact. Just just lay it in. Lay it in and things will happen, right? That's how I look at it. And so that's cool. So this is a lot lighter than I'm setting it out to be, but that's why we do several layers. So one of the things I really recommend, it's great to do portraits with, like a like a color background or something like that. Those are great, but really challenge yourself. And I want you to try and do a full figure in a realized space, right? How will you how will you handle that? There's a lot of planning, there's a lot of stuff involved, but it really takes the work to that next level and really challenges you. So if you're not feeling challenged, then you're playing it safe. I mean, sometimes when you're working, you're going to play it safe just because you love that piece. But what I'm saying is that every now and then you want to redline it. You know what I mean? Really say, oh my God, how am I going to do this? What in the world did I get myself into? That sort of thing. That's what I want to see from me. And that's why I continue to work in different mediums, because if I just stayed in one medium, I'd be playing it safe. So I like to, work in several mediums. So in my new studio, I actually have my easel set up. So I'm going to be pushing myself to be doing some large paintings. Uh, I'll be showing demonstrations, but as far as a large painting, it really doesn't translate in live stream form. So I work small like this because I can easily have the camera on there for us. So we did that, and then this comes over here like this. and then this comes down. Okay. So you really have to do the 1 second rule to keep your head in the game, and that's what we want to do. Nice. So you see how that's starting to have the germ of an idea. So the whole thing about pushing ourselves, it really isn't like doing something like totally crazy. You always want, just like when you mix color, you always want to mix from the color next to it in the color wheel. You don't want to jump. So one of the theories that I have, I'll just give a little tidbit. When you mix colors, you don't want to mix red and green because you're going to get dirt. It's going to get mud. And you don't want to mix red and yellow because you're going to get what you don't want. And so what you would probably want to do is, if you're looking for the color, look in this area because these colors are next to each other in the color wheel. When you hopscotch one color on the color wheel, you're going to get resistance or interference. And that interference is going to create a dull, unsaturated color. And it's going to be something that you don't want. So always try and mix with your neighbor. Never go over here, never go over there. Artists do it all the time, and it's a technique, and that's cool, but you also have to say, are you willing to get rid of that beautiful saturation? Are you willing to kill your hue to get the color that you want? So when you go next to each other with the hue, you're going to maintain this vibrancy. So let's say you wanted a red violet. So a lot of people would probably just go from red to violet or red to blue or whatever like that. And that's wrong, because what you want to do is you want to go between red and violet, and that means you want to use magenta. So by using magenta, you're not doing that whole hopscotch thing, and your color is going to be that much more beautiful. And so remember, the color wheel is really important, and that's going to tell you, and if you look at nature, you see like a lot of times the colors are just super close to one another. It's interesting. I studied art for many years, had a most amazing teachers, but this is the first time that I actually, heard about that, of not hopscotching colors. So think about that. Uh, it's a big thing of using, uh, and yeah, I mean everyone does it, but a lot of people use complementary colors. But there's a price to pay. Whether you're willing to pay that price of using complementary colors, that's good, but are you willing to pay that price? Color is like chess. You can go so deep into that. It's just unbelievable how deep you can go with color. So this dark, so just paying attention, right? This dark comes right up here, right to there. And then it comes out here and then fades. So let me pull this over. And I'm going to have to come in with a darker gray, but I'm starting out lighter. See, now we're getting that, that mechanical look of the train. And it's really nice because it has a nice contrast with her organic shape of her face, her hands, her legs. Okay. Now right here we have, but that's more of a brown. So you have to make sure that you keep your head in the game and ask yourself, Is that the right thing to do? So you see how I almost went in with this gray, and that would have been, quite the mistake. There we go. Mr. Dave, how's it going? Dave from Oklahoma for the next couple of weeks, next 10 days. Great to see you, my friend. How's life been treating you? And how's the move? I know you were doing all the move for the wife and the kids, and I hope everything is going smoothly. I pray, because nothing worse than an unsmooth move. But I know it's going to go well. I'm sending good feelings towards you, sir. So I'm so glad you're here, Dave. How's work going? Always great to see Mr. Dave. So I know there hasn't been a lot of artwork because you are so busy moving. I know how that goes. Mr. Dwayne says there is 1,000 ways to mix a mud color and only a couple of ways to mix what you want. Yes, exactly. And there is a couple of ways to mix it, true. But to find the most beautiful way, that's the question, right? That's the $1,000,000 question. And it's so true. Making mud is unfortunate. And while I'm here, I'm just going to accentuate this dark of her leather jacket here. Very cool. And so we have some darks over here, some nice darks on this sign. So let's make that happen. And then maybe we'll come in and kind of hit the lights. I think we're going to stay in this quadrant. I know I was just pontificating how you don't stay, but I'm going to stay in this quadrant just to show, how we develop things, right? So here we have that kind of brownish color, but we'll get to that. So now we'll work on this sign. We may have to go dark because it's kind of reacting to this magenta color here. Just keeping it going. And so there's a little bit on the top. I love this brush. So here's the set of brushes I got. I want to show you. And it's really great. Is there for acrylic, watercolor, and tempera. And see these? They're at Hobby Lobby for $5.99, and you get 10 of them. And if you keep them clean, they're going to last you a good couple of months. $5.99 for a couple of months. That's really good. So, I like doing that, and, getting really, really expensive ones that I have to worry and baby, because there are some times where I forget to wash my brushes, and then it's like, oh my God, that was like a $30 sable, So I like the idea of having brushes that are expendable, right? Very important. But they do the job. So after I'm done with it today, I'm going to take this, I'm going to wash it out because it is Createx. So I'm going to wash it out really good. I'm going to soap in water and make sure that it is really nice and shape it and put it away. It'll last me for a good month or so, but like I said, for $5, I feel much better for a $5 brush going bad than one that's expensive. And you see, I have a set for oils, right? Same brand. So this is a set for oils, and you see it's right here. It says all thicker media, which is oils. And I have all these different chisel brushes, tight detail, and I could use this for 2 months. And again, $5.99, you can't go wrong. Um, Now, I do have the liner brushes that I use for Cotman, and those are really great when I'm working with India ink and doing that. So I do have a couple of really, really nice ones that I use, but they don't come out all the time. Those are the big guns. There we go. Yeah, this is kind of like a boring part of the painting, but it's an important part of the painting. And if I could just show you guys and girls how to handle it, how I handle it, not necessarily how to handle it, maybe it'll inspire. It can't all be swashbuckling. We have to have some, quiet moments in our paintings. Like this, just working on quiet details. Take a little swig of my seltzer. Grapefruit seltzer is surprisingly good. I have a second camera here. Let's see how the second camera angle goes. Okay, here we go. So, our second camera angle. So there's no sound. Sorry about that. I was just saying to Mr. Dave, thank you so much for the super chat, and thank you for hanging out with us, especially when life is upside down with the move, and just praying everything goes smoothly. Uh, so I'm back, yes, but I definitely I was saying just how great it is to see you, especially during your move. I know it's going to go really smoothly. The sound's going to go away a moment. I'm just going to see if I can bring the sound back in this. So now the sound is back. Is that correct, sir? The sound should be there. Give me a thumbs up if there's sound. So I have sound here, and then in this screen I have sound, and I have sound here. Okay, cool. So basically we're just, oh, cool. So basically I had to bring the sound in the other, but let's see if I can increase the contrast here. Let's see, effects, come over here, color and light, and then we'll go to brightness, contrast. There we go. Increase the contrast a little bit. Do I have the right? Yeah, increase the contrast a little bit. There we go. Okay, great. And then we'll just come down over here. There we go. All right, so we have the contrast increased. And then we'll just continue working here. Bring this dark down. And then when we come in with these darks here, it'll really help us to work on the hair and everything. And we'll go back to this screen, and let's see if I could blow up in this area. There we go. And of course we're going to come in with the flesh color and clean this up, but that's for another episode. Right here. So we're going to work on this quadrant right here. There we go. And we might put some writing there, but it's not necessary. And then right here, we have a nice dark coming down. So we're going to stay in this quadrant. A little dry brush here. But this stuff is surprisingly fun because, you know, you're just kind of, you know, slowly bringing her background to life. And, you know, we really pushed her as far as detail. Now we can, let's see, so right here we're working on, right up here. We'll just continue this over. So, Dave, earlier today, I was talking about how ChatGPT is actually making me a schedule, a painting schedule, and it really has increased my productivity. And also an audio book I've been listening to, which is called The War of Art. And I highly recommend it. And what I'm thinking of doing is sort of like an Audible book club, something like that, where we can all meet on my Google Classroom. That might be fun. So I'm thinking of doing something like that. Astral says, loud and clear. Very cool. And Astral says, like I moved to Australia. And interesting, I will give it a look. Yeah, it's really great. So ChatGPT came out with 4.0, and it's a little bit better than other. So the scheduling is like having a personal assistant. It really is great. I am embracing the AI in a lot of different ways because it's going to make me more productive and allow me to continue to be a full-time artist because I need help. Us artists are not business-minded people, and we're not the most you know, how do you say, uh, easily scheduled people, right? So that's something that I have to work on. So ChatGPT is actually kind of being a taskmaster with me, and it's really great because I am able to, um, with the ChatGPT, it's really great because I'm able to set up each day of different things I have going. Maybe I'm having a lunch date or something and working around, which is really fantastic. I might have a class, so it works around the class, but still goes. And so I could say that I need 4 hours of painting time. ChatGPT, you need to schedule that. I have a class I'm teaching. I also going to squeeze in lunch. I'm going to be getting up at 7 a.m. and I have a live stream at 9:30, and it will actually set that up for me, which is really great. And so that's fantastic. Astral says because the picture was upside down. Yes. It's interesting because the picture is, like right here, you can see the picture is on the other side of my desk. But if I switch it around, watch this. If I go ahead and flip it, then it doesn't look, yeah, I guess it does look better, right? What do you guys think? It does look a little bit better that way. So I definitely see your point there. Definitely, Astral. I like that. But the thing is, it's mirrored, right? So let's see if I move her like this. Oh, I gotta move this up a little bit. I got this little baby, little tiny little easel here. There we go. And so now it's facing the wrong way, so I have to mirror it. So let's mirror it. And there we go. Okay, so now you can see it at this different angle. Not that you just want to see it at that angle, but that's cool. That's great advice. Thank you, sir, Mr. Astral, for looking out for me. And so very, very cool. Yes, no longer in the land down under. So right here we have this other window. So let's make this happen. Let's get ready to rumble. There we go. And I love developing this, because then I really feel like she's starting to look like she's somewhere. Sneak in a little detail of a fold there. Sneak that in, right? That's what we have to do. And so with these wet palettes, they have this little foam thing, and you get two when you purchase the wet palette. And I'm going to actually have to purchase more. So I'll be doing that probably tomorrow. I'll be ordering one of them. I don't think they have that at Hobby Lobby or a regular art store. You basically have to order that. But you get it like in 2 days with Amazon, which is really great. Back in the Northern Hemisphere, that's right. That's for sure. And now you guys are in the Northern Hemisphere. Am I in the Western Hemisphere? How does that work? I'm totally in the dark. I think I knew in 5th grade, but that's about when I no longer knew. Are we in a different hemisphere than you are in, Mr. Astral? Well, with a name like Astral, so you're definitely the person to go to. With the name like Astral Solari, right? Above the equator. Okay, so we are definitely above the equator. Thank you, sir. So I went to Hobby Lobby last week, and that's where I bought these brushes at Hobby Lobby, and just loving it. And they already have like Halloween and Thanksgiving stuff up. That made me happy because I despise the summer. So, at least it gave me hope that, November is out there, and I can't wait until the days are shorter and it's the chills in the air and it gets dark early, and then I just feel really happy to work, and there's nothing like the uh, the first cold morning in like October where you put up the heat and you just smell the steam and you have a cup of coffee and it's early in the morning and the sun isn't up yet. Oh, that's so great. I really love that so much, as you can tell. Uh, the summer, I know a lot of people love it and they come alive in the summer, but when I was married with kids, I had stepchildren, and so the summer was definitely time for activity, and they loved it, and I supported that and everything. But uh, now, for me working selfishly, I just love, love, love the cold weather. Not so much the real super cold weather because of the stray cats and everything, and I feel bad for them and the homeless people who are out there in the cold, or even the poor people waiting for buses when they're commuting. I did that for many years, and that was cold. That was terribly cold. It's just starting to get light here. Yes. So that's over in the UK, right? Definitely. So I seen that Ireland and England had a really wonderful sunny day or sunny couple of days. Did you experience that in your neck of the woods, Astral? See, I have to be very careful with her leg, right? Don't want to mess that up. Look at the perspective. It's really great. So I love this painting because the perspective really gives you a feeling of movement and her being at rest and quiet and sleeping. I just love the contrast. I really do of this painting. So definitely. So this is a fine art painting for me. This is a painting that I would do in any medium. I would do it in watercolor, airbrush, pastel, oils. I would do it. It's just an image that I'm just in love with. And then right here, this comes down. Just got to be careful of her knee. There we go. Brad says she's really looking great, Tim. Thanks for another great feed. Have a good night, everyone. Oh my God, it's 11:27. Last time I see that's the whole thing about getting in the zone, right, guys? And I know, guys and girls, you feel that as well. When you're in that zone, time kind of disappears, and you all feel that. There's nothing like painting, and whether it's airbrush or any medium, you just get involved, and all of a sudden the world goes away. Just hanging out with good friends like you all, and just painting, and I can't believe Brad just said, good night. I'm like, Brad's leaving early, and no, he's not leaving early. The live stream's over. But thanks so much, everybody, for hanging out. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you spending the time with me. It just means so much. And, I thank God for you all and for your support and your friendship. And just making me realize that, people like the live stream. People enjoy it. Good people like yourselves. And I look forward to Wednesday so much. And again, if no one showed up, I would be bummed, but I still would be doing them. So I've done live streams where it was just one person. I've done live streams where no one showed up and I talked to myself for an hour and a half. So that's pretty funny. Not the first time I talked to myself. And And so, yes, so we're at 11:28. I always want to give you the full 2 hours, so I think we're going to go to 11:32 today. Because, so you see how she's kind of moving down, like you know, the movement of the perspective. Let me zoom out here. So you see how she's coming, just so slow but beautiful, right? And let's see. So we will do another pass, come in with the lights, of course. Now here, it's more of a brown. So see, I have the gray there, and this is where all the supplies come in. You see the Chinese takeout restaurant little thing. I could wipe that clean. I don't have to worry about a little bottle of water, and I could really clean out this same brush. I want to use that brown that I use for here, right? Basically, it's an and orange and like a neutral orange. So let me see. Where is it? This is, I'm going to mix this. I think this is the darker color. Nope, it is that. See that? It is that color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that a little bit in this little, see this little thing I have? This like 99-cent little plastic thing? I put it in here and I put it on the wet palette to keep it wet. Because the wet palette will keep that color wet for, like, I've seen it 3 weeks. So that's great. We'll put this here. So on these little lines here, like right here, it's not the gray, it's not the dark gray, it's this brown. We can bring this down. There we go. Let's see, right here we have this beautiful line coming down. And we're going to do some, I'll do some airbrush technique during the week and continue working on bringing this to, hey, Mr. Air Todd, thank you so much, my friend. I didn't work much on the young lady, just working on the background today, just getting things established, getting a foothold, so to speak, and, that sort of thing. So glad to see you, Mr. Todd. How you been? You came at the end, but you're here, and that's the most important thing. So thank you for stopping by. And I just want to say thank you so much for the super chats, my friend. I really appreciate that. So we have Mr. Dave, thanks for the super chat. And good luck with the move. And Brad, thank you so much for the super chat. Mr. Michael, thank you. I appreciate you. Ryan, thank you so much. And Mr. Mike Rushing from Decatur, Georgia. That is so great. Everyone, we are at 11:32, the full 2 hours. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great weekend. If you guys have any questions about Airbrush, always feel free to IM me on Facebook. I'm always happy to help. And so I am going to wish you take care and God bless yous, and you are all so important to me.